Sydney, what's it like going through a game like that where it seems like there's a long run followed by a long run followed by a long run?
Yeah, it's honestly kind of tiring, but we prepare for that. They're a really, really good team, and we're expecting them to come out like wanting to beat us. But we came back and we fought, even though there was a long stretch that they didn't score, we didn't score, but we had to keep our composure and we came out with a win.
You guys are kind of having a knack for these, just not the prettiest of wins here of late, but still just finding a way to come up with the win. That just has to say a lot about the girls.
Yeah, a win's a win, honestly. It doesn't really matter the outcome as long as we are on top.
Defensively tonight, you guys holding them to 42.9%. I know Petrie's somebody that you guys have to focus on pretty well, and we're able to kind of hold her in check with just 13. Just how do you feel on the defensive end for you guys tonight?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, they're just a really good team all around, and we had to lock in on Petrie and Hawk. They're like their two best players. So we had Bryce on Petrie, and she locked her down and kept her under her average, and same with Hawk too. Overall, it's just an all-around effort too.
Kind of echoing what Wyatt just said, y'all forced 17 turnovers. Is there a certain point you realize that those turnovers are starting to add up and you kind of start to play more physical or try to get in their mind a little bit more?
I honestly didn't know that they had that many, but we just kind of just go with the flow, honestly. It was really rowdy at some points, it got really physical. The refs didn't really want to call anything, but, we had to keep our composure. We all came together and just came out.
Sydney, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, talk about the energy level, because it seemed like even when Bradley would make its runs, you guys maintained a pretty high energy level throughout that entire game.
Yeah, for sure. Mox always says even if they come like on a wrong run, we gotta have some adversity and come together as one. And also helped a lot with the crowd. A lot of people came out and supported us, which honestly really helps us.
How do you guys stay from not getting too frustrated in those long stretches where you don't score? I mean, you had those long stretches where you're not scoring, but you're still getting it done at the defensive end. You're still focused and locked in, getting it done over there.
Yeah, even if we don't score, defense wins games, honestly. So as long as we're playing tough defense and don't let them score, even if we don't score, we'll still come out winning.
Any other questions for Sydney? All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Sydney.
Thank you. I'm back.
You're back. Jazz had another double-double and tied a career high with 6 steals tonight. So we'll go ahead and open up for questions for her.
Yeah, Jasmine, just kind of same as I asked Sydney, being able to come up with the win, even though it's not the prettiest of performances, but just have to be happy with that. And does it get frustrating in there when you guys aren't playing as well as we know that you're capable of sometimes?
I will say it gets frustrating, but we know to keep our heads and just stay together. If we do that, we'll always come out on top with the win.
I know it was a rough night at the free throw line as a team, only making 50%, but you guys did hit some big ones down the stretch when they really mattered.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, me personally, I did terrible. I don't even want to talk about it. But, I mean, knowing that, we know that we got to finish around the rim, even work on it in practice, along with free throws. It's just something we have to figure out on our own.
It's that physical of a game. Just how are you guys able to keep your composure there? I know some things weren't called at some times, and some things were called that y'all didn't agree with at times, and just keeping your heads in there. It had to have been a little tough tonight.
I would say I'm a little different than everybody else. I like the physical games. Like, I don't mind them not calling it, us going back and forth. It just gets it amped up, and the energy in the gym just skyrockets, and I love that, honestly. But yeah, I could see it being frustrating for other people. So me, as who I am, I just kind of keep us going and try to make sure that no one loses their head.
Why are you like that?
Why do I like the physical play?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's funny, honestly. at that point. Like, you see everyone getting upset, and I'm just sitting here like, oh, playing, it's basketball. We're just hooping. Why not?
Jasmine, obviously, Bradley plays an up-tempo game. Did they do anything tonight that surprised you all, or was it pretty much what you expected from them?
They did not. Coach Mox really prepared us for their offensive transition really well for it, because they are very good. Their defense transition is sus, so we know that if they get over on us on offense, we can bring it back. So it's okay. But we were definitely prepared for it.
Games have been kind of scarce for y'all recently, let alone home games. First time being back in almost a month. Just what did it feel like being back on the home court?
Oh, love it. Especially wearing these cute little jerseys, supporting breast cancer awareness. Really missed the crowd, missed everyone. Missed you guys, talking to you guys, and just playing on the court all together. I don't really like away trips, but it's part of it, I guess.
Jasmine, going back to the physicality standpoint, there were a lot of back and forth runs there in the fourth where you could see the momentum shifting. How big was that charge call you took, you feel like?
It was pretty big. I could breathe for a few seconds, so that's okay. But it was really big. I know it was a huge shift with everyone. We know we had to capitalize off of it and do something. And I think after that, Wilson, you got your N1? Was that after? Yep. So after that, I was like, it's over with. We had it in the bag. But yeah.
I think that was your last question, Jazz, if I'm not.
Awesome sauce.
We got to win, and that's what we want to do. You know, we want to continue to win. We knew Bradley was going to come out hot. They had a lot of confidence. You know, I think that they had some votes, 7 to be exact, for, you know, to finish first in our conference preseason. So I think they wanted to prove that they could be the best team in this conference. So the way that we prove that is continue to win games.
I just love hearing you say 7 to be exact. Is that something you use as motivation this week, or kind of leading up to this? Because stuff like that always seems to be in the back of your team's minds.
Yeah, I mean, we use a lot of things as motivation. Today our motivation was a little different, even though our play didn't all the way reflect that, but it was more so about this moment. This game being bigger than basketball. Breast cancer awareness, very serious thing, and it's touched some of us, and it's close to home. So that was more so what we talked about, but we did touch on the 7 votes, of course, just to add a little bit, play with a little bit of a chip on our shoulder, because there's some people that believe that Bradley's better than us, and we wanted to prove those 7 people wrong and continue to try and prevail in conference.
You guys, there have been a few of these, not the prettiest games you let you come in here saying, but you're able to come out and win them. You still come out on the winning end. Just kind of, what does that say about your team?
Resilient. You know, our team fights. We fight to the end. We believe in each other. Tonight wasn't Bryce's best game. Struggled a little bit, and then the people stepped up. Jazz kept talking in the huddle. She kept talking to Bryce. She had some crazy hustle plays, great rebounds. We had other people step up as well. So, it's just a different year. I think that we'll see more consistency, I guess, offensively in our play when we get on more of a consistent schedule. We just came from playing last weekend, but the weekend before we were off. And we've had some pauses in our schedule here and there. And the way you get better in games is just to play in games. We can simulate as much as we can in practice, but I just think that's why we're seeing some inconsistencies offensively and, just free throws, just things like that. Now, what can't be inconsistent and what has to stay consistent is our defensive effort.
Coach, you mentioned Jasmine talking it up out there, and it seems like even when faced with adversity, your team was always talking it up and really played with a lot of intensity the whole game.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of who we are. Doesn't matter what's going on the scoreboard. We can always control our energy. We can always control our effort. We can always control our attitude. Has it been perfect every game this season? No. But at the end of the day, that's what we strive to do. So we've been down many times before. Obviously, you guys have seen. But so we don't get rattled when we're down. We just have to get back on the same page. And I didn't feel like our offense was clicking. I didn't feel like our team was clicking, actually, today. I thought we were a little scatterbrained. Bradley is a good team, and they're going to come out and give us their best punch. Being number 1 in the conference means that everybody's gunning for you. You know, everybody wants to take that spot. And Bradley wants to prove that they could be the best team in this conference and play their way into postseason. So we know that we have to be better tomorrow. They're gonna come in hotter. They're gonna have a little fire behind them, and we have to do the same.
You've already mentioned defense a couple of times. Y'all forced 17 turnovers, got 32 points off those turnovers. And earlier this week, you mentioned that you want to see your defense step up. How do you think they did tonight?
Our defense was pretty good. You know, we held their 2 superstars to below their average. But I just feel like it can be better. You know, I think they got a few too many wide open looks that they didn't hit. And those are great players. Tomorrow, those looks will be baskets, you know, just like at Illinois State. The next day, they came and hit some shots. So we had to pay a little bit more attention to detail on that end, especially personnel-wise. I didn't think we did a great job with that. But at the end of the day, we held them to 56 points. We had crucial defensive stops, big rebounds when we needed it, and that's what wins you games.
Kind of paid attention to Bryce on the defensive end, covering Petrie, and just all over her all the time. And sometimes they don't even look Petrie's way because Bryce is honored. Just that's a defensive player of the year, kind of holding somebody on an island. It's quite special. I'm sure that you kind of noticed that as well.
Yeah, Bryce is a phenomenal defender and takes a lot of pride in it. That's why in the locker room right now, she wasn't really smiling. Felt like she kind of let the team down on the defensive end and offensive end. And she said, my bad. And if you have a kid, your leader, you know, and leading scorer saying my bad after a win, then that's when you know you have something special going on here. She takes a lot of pride in her defense. She takes a lot of pride in her play, but she kind of sets the tone on defensive end. There was a couple of missed defensive cues that she had, and she owned it. And I love that. I love that about her. I love that about this team. Never satisfied, always feeling like we can do better.
Coach, I know 10 for 20 at the free throw line is a little uncharacteristic of your team, but when it came down to it at the end, your players hit some really big ones.
And we had to. The game was on the line. We try to simulate those situations in practice. But again, you know, game time experience is the best experience. And just the inconsistency of playing now, playing, not playing, and, you know, maybe in quarantine or whatever's going on, I think it affects you offensively. I really do, because it's different when you go on the road too and you don't play in front of fans, and then we're blessed to have fans, and then you're playing in front of your family and, you know, just things like that. So typically in a normal year, we're used to it and we're in a schedule. We know when we're going to play and we can get better from game to game. But I think that's why we're seeing a little bit of up and down and inconsistencies on our offensive end. Not giving our players excuses. You know, they know I'm not giving them excuses, but we just got to keep trying to simulate it the best way we can.
Late there in the fourth quarter, there's that stretch where nothing's going through. At the same time, y'all aren't giving up points. You're not scoring on the other side. Is there anything you tell your team during that stretch about just trying to push through that?
Fight through fatigue. You know, we're yelling out what we could yell out. Obviously, there was a long stretch right there where there was no timeouts and our kids were dying. Their kids were dying. But she wanted to hold her timeouts for under a minute so she can advance it. I wanted to do the same thing because you can kind of see that it's going to be a close game. So, of course, I wanted to call a timeout to give them a quick breather, but I was just hoping that we could fight through fatigue. But then, you know, their shots were short, our shots were short, you know, so nobody was really scoring. It was just a long stretch. It doesn't always happen in a basketball game. And a lot of times as a coach, you can control that with timeouts, but it was a situation where we wanted to, I assume she was thinking the same thing, wanted to keep her timeouts for advancing.
Anything else for Coach Mox? Great. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.